Massive news that will break the internet and will make every F1 fan insane has just surfaced in the Formula One world, as Massa just stepped up the process to challenge the 2008 title. If this turns out to be a valid request, then one couldn't help but wonder, will Hamilton assemble his own legal team and pursue changes for the 2021 championship aftermath, as his platform and argument are much more well-structured compared to Massa? If you guys remember back in April, Massa expressed his plan to challenge the outcome of the 2008 F1 World Championship, where he had narrowly lost to McLaren's Lewis Hamilton by just 1 point. Massa took this step based on advice from former F1 boss Bernie Ecclestone. Ecclestone indicated that there was information about the controversial 2008 Singapore GP incident known as Crashgate, which could have been used to address the situation before the championship result was officially confirmed. Then in March, Ecclestone was interviewed by F1 Insider, and he mentioned that the outcome of the Singapore race had a situation where Nelson Piquet Jr. intentionally crashed to assist his Renault teammate Fernando Alonso in winning. Ecclestone suggested that the race result could have been invalidated, potentially leading to the championship title going to the Ferrari driver instead. However, the issue was only looked into officially the next year. By that time, it was not possible to review and change the outcome of the race or the championship. Now Massa has put together a group of legal experts and has sent what's called a letter before claim to the FIA and FOM. This letter explains the case that the Brazilian plans to take to court. As stated in a document obtained by motorsport.com, Massa's legal argument suggests that he was targeted in a plot. He claims that both the FIA and FOM knew about the situation but chose not to act on it. In a letter to F1 CEO Stefano Domenicali and FIA President Mohammed Ben Sulayem, Massa's legal team asserts that the organizations wanted to prevent a big problem from emerging. However, this decision supposedly caused the 42-year-old Brazilian to lose a significant amount of money in terms of earnings and bonuses. In straightforward terms, the letter asserts that Mr. Massa should rightfully be considered the 2008 Drivers' Champion, and it accuses F1 and FIA of purposefully ignoring the wrongdoing that deprived him of this title. The letter mentions that Mr. Massa can't accurately calculate the extent of his losses at this point, but he believes that they could exceed tens of millions of euros. This sum doesn't even cover the substantial damage to his reputation and personal values. The letter also explains that if there isn't a significant response within 2 weeks, his legal representatives will initiate legal proceedings. Interestingly, Ecclestone now claims he doesn't remember giving the interview that led to Massa's legal action. He also states that neither Massa nor his legal team have contacted him to confirm his statements. It remains uncertain whether Massa's team had a practical chance to challenge the championship results from 15 years ago. According to the FIA's own rules in the International Sporting Code, making protests after a race is not allowed. The right to ask for a review ends 14 days after a race and 4 days before that year's FIA prize-giving event. Additionally, the FIA's legal system is clear that the highest authority for making decisions is the Independent International Court of Appeal. Anyone involved in a championship agrees to follow its rulings. In theory, Massa could try to get the Court of Arbitration for Sport, CAS, involved, but it doesn't have the power to intervene in FIA matters. The FIA's rules state that the CAS can only handle cases linked to the FIA's Anti-Doping Disciplinary Committee. If he manages to bring this issue to court using Ecclestone's viewpoint on something that occurred 15 years ago, let's explore whether a court could force Formula One to alter its history. The court would likely analyze previous cases in motor racing and Formula One. They might consider disqualifying those who gained an advantage from Renault's cheating. This would involve removing their results from either the race or the entire championship, including its individual races. Regarding the race itself, changing its outcome wouldn't impact the championship. Disqualifying Alonso from the race would give more points to Hamilton. However, it wouldn't provide any extra points to Massa. Also, Piquet didn't finish the race, so there's no impact on his points. Disqualifying Alonso and Piquet from the championship would have interesting effects. Both of them finished behind Massa and ahead of Hamilton in the French Grand Prix, so this would give Hamilton an extra point. He initially finished 10th in that race and would be 8th. In Germany, Piquet came between winner Hamilton and third-place Massa, so if Piquet is removed, it would be +2 for Massa, and the overall change in points would be +1 for Massa. In Hungary, Alonso, 4th, finished ahead of both Massa and Hamilton, 5th. However, Massa was too far behind to gain any points. So this would be +1 for Hamilton, with the overall points difference staying the same. In Italy, Alonso finished ahead of both of them. This means +1 for Massa and +1 for Hamilton, keeping the overall points difference the same. In Singapore, Massa finished 13th, while Hamilton finished 3rd, gaining a second-place position. This would add 2 points to Hamilton and increase the overall points difference to +2 for Hamilton. In Japan, both Alonso and Piquet finished ahead of Massa and Hamilton. Hamilton's 12th place finish means he wouldn't gain any points, but Massa's 7th place finish would give him +2 points. The overall points difference would still be the same at 0. Lastly, in Brazil, Massa won, but Alonso came second and Hamilton 5th. This would give Hamilton +1 point. The overall points difference would remain +1 for Hamilton. Certainly, removing Alonso from the championship wouldn't be justified, especially since he was found to be unaware and unquestioning of the race strategy manipulation. However, even if this were to happen, it wouldn't benefit Massa in any way. Cancelling the individual Grand Prix races hasn't been done before. While it might favour Massa, it would unfairly penalise 17 other drivers who were not involved in Renault's orchestrated events. Regarding other possible actions, it's hard to envision a scenario where a court could change the situation to the point where Massa doesn't leave the pits in Singapore without his refuelling hose still attached. The recent example of the Tour de France has shown that there are times when history can be re-examined. It seems that Massa might be aiming for the FIA to dismiss his case, allowing him to demonstrate that he pursued all available options within regular courts. The FIA's inconsistent and prolonged delays in making budget cap decisions have indicated a willingness to disregard set and timely deadlines. Although it's generally considered settled, Massa is prepared to back up his words with action and money. This is more impactful than just empty words. However, if things go in Massa's favour, it could set a risky precedent. Schumacher would have 6 championships, Max would have 1, and Senna would have 2. This would make Hamilton a 7-time champion, Schumacher a 6-time champion, and Prost a 4-time champion. Schumacher and Senna intentionally caused crashes to manipulate the outcomes of the 1994 and 1990 championships, respectively. In 2021, a decision attributed to human error, according to the FIA, affected the championship. This could be seen as another form of manipulation. So if Massa's effort succeeds, it could open the door to similar challenges. Massa didn't follow the established rules. He improvised his own safety car procedure, which led to Max winning. If Massa had adhered to the rules, Max might not have won. There's a clear connection between Massa's rule deviation and Max's victory. Despite what F1's public relations might have said, Massa was removed from his position due to this mistake. This indicates that both F1 and the public recognize it as an error. In the Crashgate race, Massa could have earned more points if he and the team hadn't mishandled the pit stop. Piquet's actions weren't related to that error. While Piquet helped Alonso win, it's worth noting that Alonso wasn't the one competing against Massa. Massa doesn't want to be handed an advantage by having other drivers' points removed for something that neither he nor Lewis had any involvement in. In my view, if a legal case is brought forward, the incident involving Massa in 2021 seems to have more substantial evidence compared to the Crashgate situation with Massa. However, at this point, we're just going to have to wait and observe how everything develops. What are your opinions? Do you believe Massa has a chance to succeed in the lawsuit and regain his championship title? Let us know in the comments below.